As the final buzzer sounded on the Pistons' 2023 season, two die-hard fans, Mickey and Harry, each passed out and witnessed a vision. They were visited by Detroit's very own mascot, Hooper, the stallion ablaze, who told them the only way the Pistons would ever win a championship again was if these two men started a podcast. To be clear, they said, do we really have to do this? I mean, aren't there enough Pistons podcasts already? It seems like this might be overkill. But Hooper dunked on them, right in their face, and said, your team needs you. He presented them with a prophecy. Now it is their duty to help Detroit rise again and become champions. The Order of the Blazing Horse. Welcome to another episode of The Order of the Blazing Horse, the only Detroit Pistons podcast based on a mystical prophecy. I am Harry Morrows, one of your co-profs, joined as always by my other co-prof, my main man,
Mickey Jacobs.
What's
ready to talk some Pistons? Harry, we're winning some games.
Ooh, we are winning many games, taking off all my clothes. The Pistons went streaking. 5-game win streak? That was hot. It did end last night with a game against Golden State, which was another barn burner at the end there. The Pistons are nothing but entertaining. I got to say, like, so many clutch minutes, so many exciting ends to the game. It was a bummer that they lost yesterday, but, like, is that not basketball that you've never seen before at the end? They just can't stop playing that way.
It's pretty incredible. And even holding Curry to what do you have, like 15, 16, 17 or something? It was not a great night for him.
He was looking old, man, looking rough. And Curry's one of the greatest players of all time. It's really exciting to see this kind of transition period in the NBA where guys like LeBron, Curry, KD, I guess Beal, if you want to put him in that category, but like all those teams that have those stars have the same record as the Detroit Pistons do. And the Pistons are on the up and up because their young star, Cade All-NBA Cunningham, is making some noise, dude. In the game last night, in the final 5 minutes, Pistons were down by 18 points with 5:40 to go. In the final 5 minutes, Cade dropped 14 friggin' points, just willing them back, get back to within 4. He goes to the free throw line on a foul by Draymond Green, smart foul. Don't give him a chance to get it. Hits the first free throw. As soon as he gets the ball, throws it off the rim, off the backboard, right back to him. Looks to Malik Beasley. Malik's not open. Finds Fontecchio. Fontecchio is open. Refs blow the play dead because they don't know if it touched it. But, like, I don't think I've ever seen a crazier intentional missed free throw ever. Like, what a heads-up play, dude.
Yeah. No, it's really exciting. And it's not like these are all wins against bad teams. Like that T-Wolves game, that was one of the most fun Pistons games I've seen in a while. They were ahead almost the entire way, or if not the entire way. And just seeing them make Ant rattled and complain to the refs like a little baby, like a little boohoo baby, a little goo goo gaga baby. I mean, if that's who you want to hand the keys to the league to, sure. But like, if it's me, I'm giving them to Cade. I'm biased, but no, it's so exciting to, as of this moment, be a 500 team.
Man,
can we take a little victory lap here on behalf of Hooper? Because when we saw the vision and he said that we had to make a podcast in order for the Pistons to be good again, I was like, I'm a little bit of a skeptic. I'm a little bit of a cynic. I'm like, that's crazy. Objectively, that's crazy. I don't know anymore.
I mean, at the very least, I didn't think it was going to happen immediately, like right afterward. I don't think you're crazy, mainly because you and I had the same vision. You can't be crazy if two people are having it, right?
That's true.
It's like
that's a fact.
So I think we're okay in that regard. And like Hooper, praise horse. We must continue to believe. Thank you for
may the 3 and D
power.
Be unto thee,
and unto thee as well. And also, like, I know this is unrelated, but you're out there in LA. May the water and the air quality be with thee. Hope everyone out there is doing pretty safe, and I hope you're keeping safe too. So
I am, and yeah, it's a crazy time. A lot of displaced people, a lot of devastation. I was talking to you a little bit before we started recording. My girlfriend Ann and I, we ended up staying with some friends in Orange County the other night just to be safe. Burbank wasn't evacuated or anything, but we packed up a few valuables, which was funny because I realized how few valuables I have. It was mainly just laptop, some clothes, and my signed Cade Cunningham ticket from the first time he ever put on a Pistons uniform, which, as we all know, is going to be worth thousands of dollars once he's a multi-time MVP champion, speaking it into existence. But yeah, I am safe. Thank you for saying that.
You're welcome. And it goes to everybody out there. And also, as far as that ticket goes, no matter what the monetary value, the sentimentality value of that.
Never saw it.
My God, it's so cool. I'm so happy that the king of ethical hoops is our guy. That people are waking up to seeing him ball out. One thing that was like so wild to me about his run in the end of the game yesterday was he doesn't even look like he's going fast, and all of a sudden he's got 25 points in the second half. Like, he moves at his own pace, he takes up a huge amount of space, he spins, he hits step back threes. He got 4 stocks that game, 3 steals and a block going into it, and it's been a fun run. He's got 30 points, 30 plus points, 8 plus rebounds, 6 plus assists in 3 out of his last 4 games. That's without Jaden Ivey being there to help him. That's without Asar Thompson being healthy to help him. When he's got the bulk of the load, he's still getting things done effectively and efficiently. People are starting to talk about him more in the All-NBA category. I think All-Star's a given at this point. I know that in the fan voting he's like 7th or something, but
I hope so.
Yeah, you can hope. I think it's a given. I can't imagine any scenario where he's not an all-star player. I don't think he'll be an all-star starter, but I very much think he should be at this point. And now the Pistons are in this situation. We've heard that Jaden Ivey is going to be out probably somewhere between 4 and 6 or 4 and 8 months for that bone recovery. Let's just buy the idea he's not coming back this season. It's pretty unfortunate. They did win almost all their games without him so far this year. Only 1 loss in 6 games without him, or 5.5 games without him. Guys are stepping up. THJ stepped up. Tobias has stepped up. Malik still putting up like 20 on the regular, like really nice.
Duran's been playing pretty well.
Oh man,
gotta give him props.
Let's take a minute. Mickey, shout out Jalen Duran. Tell me about him a little bit.
When Jalen Duran plays well, the team wins. But it's so good to see the stocks. I don't need him to put up 20 points a game and have 14 boards every time. I mean, that's cool when that happens, but it's really cool and his playmaking too. The turnovers are still a thing, but seeing him seeing him throw a lob to Cade, seeing your center throw your point guard a lob. I know Cade's a jumbo, but it's a great highlight, and it's really cool, especially just because the rhetoric surrounding JD has been so harsh among the fan base. And so it's really cool to see him step up. I think everyone knows at this point, as great as Stu is, he's not a starting center.
No.
And whether JD is the starting center of the future, he's holding it down. And I think he's looked like a lot less of a liability. And I think he's getting some defensive awareness, and he's looking really good out there. How do you feel?
I completely agree. I mean, the last several games, his stocks are up. His rebounding's up. He's had double-digit rebounds in, I think, like 6 of his last 8 games or something like that. A lot of double-doubles, which is nice. It's nice that it's picking back up. His rebounding in, like, the final moments of the fourth quarter has really been, like, game-changing, honestly. Like, he's been playing very clutch basketball. And, I mean, he hasn't had an alley-oop from Cade in 3 games, but he did throw the alley-oop to Cade, like you said. He had that sick block on Draymond. Like, yeah. That's a Stu block all day. The Stu block from Minnesota and the Duran block against Draymond, pretty equally awesome in terms of just
swatting going around.
His hands are more active. Like, you can – I think one thing that we have to take into consideration with Duran compared to Ivy is we saw the growth and the jump in Ivy almost immediately. Like, because of his situation last year, he comes out, he's starting, shooting the 3 ball really well, instantly better, instantly superior. And everyone's like, oh man, Ivy's balling out. He's the guy that's extending him. And Duran's like, He's still a defensive liability. Things are still not going great. Big bummer. But his defense has gotten better. Like even in some ISOs, what game against? It was the game against Sacramento. He held, oh my God, DeMar DeRozan on an island from taking a huge shot. He swatted him, and not only swatted him, swatted it off him and out of bounds. Changed possession to Detroit.
So clutch.
Huge moment. He's tapping the ball out for offensive rebounds in those clutch moments. Like, he looks more active. There have been back-to-back games seeing him get like a steal to a slam. The one against the Nets was pretty sick. The alley-oop came off a steal as well as the shot clock was going away. We're just seeing a more realistic bit of growth from him than we were from like Ivy and the rest of the team. Like, we have to accept that last year's situation was more than just detrimental. It was an aberration. Oh, is that a word I'm looking for? Not an aberration, but an aberration. Aberration's like an anomaly.
Yeah. I'm gonna allow it.
Sure, aberration's like a ghost. I hope it's a ghost. Let's put it in the past. Let's bury that thing.
It's haunted.
Yeah, it's haunting still. But like now the team's like good, and I think the stark difference in between the two seasons has allowed for more hyperbolic takes of these players, and I think Duren's actually performing at a pretty reasonable level and improving at a reasonable rate. Is he going to warrant a max? No, not even close to it. It'd be crazy to think he is, and he does have limitations because he's still not a spacer and he's still not like an ultimate rim protector, but he is better. And at this point, now we don't have to like think about when it comes to like the future moves. Do we have to move Duren? Does he have to get replaced by a stretch five, or is it now a world where that can work? I think I know they've talked about it like on the Pistons Pulse, and I think they've talked about it on the Pin Down, which is the Detroit Bad Boys podcast. That's Wes and Blake. But not all the defensive problems are from Duren. Sometimes, and a lot of times, it's the perimeter defense. So how can you fix that? Part of the reason that they're struggling right now is like Asar's been sick, and still trying to come back to full health, and Ron's coming off the bench, and Ivy's out, and so your perimeter defense guys are THJ and Tobias and Malik, and no shade to any of them, but that's like not their strong suit, right? So what do you expect? It's a lot falls on Cade, and Cade has a lot already in his plate. His defense is not bad. It's not like superstar level right yet. It's pretty good, but there are holes to get plugged. So I don't think it's necessarily just a Duren problem. I think there are a lot of opportunities for the Pistons to address it in general, and I think that might lead us into our first segment here, outside of just recapping the game. Mickey, do you want to introduce this bad boy?
Yes. So now that the team is 500, we're into 2025. I think everyone was looking to the draft, but now we might be looking postseason. And so the question that we have now is Trajan Langdon going to make a big move?
Boom.
Do we draft? Do we trade? Do we tank? Do we push for the playoffs? Do we stay the course? Do we extend Ivy and or Duren? What's going to happen, Aaron? What do you think? What do you want to happen right now?
So it's so vastly different than where I was even like a week ago as far as like the plan for this team.
We were talking about draft picks.
Picks with our last guest with Tyler Metcalf. Shout out to him and No Ceilings. Great squad.
Killed it.
Also killed the Tim Hardaway face stuff. Also shout out Tim Hardaway Sr. Wanted to make sure we weren't being jerks about it. We love you, dude. So happy to see you.
Yeah, we had a nice little discourse with THS. A joke is good when you have to explain it. That's always a sign of a funny joke. No, that's on us. But that was purely like in admiration. We just love seeing him at the games. We love his stone face, steady no matter what's going on. On
Act
the floor.
like you've been there before, because he'd been there before.
Nothing phases him.
So as far as Trajan's big move and like where we're at, we in the past had talked about the concept of getting maybe Zach LaVine or getting Vooch or like Lonzo Ball or something, like taking on some salary cap and just like adding a player who can maybe help a little bit. Then Ivy went down and people were like, oh man, do they really need to like either straight tank or go all in? Should we go after like Brandon Ingram or like Zion Williamson? and I'm not for either of those. Because I think that not just the play in, but the playoff is like a real thing. Like the competition is Miami with a disgruntled Jimmy Butler. I'll get into him in a second. Then Indiana, who is very similar where we're at, and I'll get into them in a second as well. Atlanta, I think, is a very similar team to Detroit in that they're on the up and up. They have a guy who is their star, who's also a great distributor, and they have some like awesome young talent around him, but still some questions, especially in the front court. So like pretty comparable teams. We all remember the Atlanta game where Cade got the game-winning basket and block. Very similar, like close teams. I'm excited about those matchups. Philadelphia's climbing up. The Bulls are like figuring out what to do. They might fall apart. Who knows? They might ship off their assets. Maybe they'll stay the course. I don't know. They should
Never know what the Bulls are doing.
It's a great point. You really don't know. All you know that the Bulls are doing is disappointing their fan base. I think every
I can speak to that secondhand. I really can.
They're feeling pretty bad about the whole thing. So now where do they stand? They're playing at this rate with the rest that they have. They could make that noise without making a move, even though they have that 14 million cap space. They don't have to do anything. They hold all the cards. They're the only team in the NBA that has cap space to make a trade work for any of that stuff. Like I'm seeing a lot of teams or a lot of people pitching these trades, and it's like, oh, use Detroit as a dumping ground. Detroit doesn't have to be a dumping ground. They hold the cards. That cap space is more valuable than draft picks almost at this point. So I'll just get into what I want. I know I said yesterday, if you watch Pistons Jack, shout out to Pistons Jack. He's an incredible content creator for the Pistons. Great guy, fun stuff.
So prolific, so dedicated. Love his stuff.
I was on his Fan Reacts yesterday, and I said I don't want them to make a big move, and then I slept on it, and I talked to you a little bit about it. I had mentioned off stream. I'm all over the place. I waver. That's how you know I'm a Democrat.
It's a roller coaster of emotions.
I brought this up to you a while ago that I would love to see them not in the trade but in free agency. If he opts out, the Pistons pursue Jimmy Butler on a max deal for a couple of years, like 2 or 3 years, because I think he's another creator. He's another scorer. He's got that dog in him, and he's great defensively. And he's got wonderful playoff experience. Like that's cool. He has opposite vibes of what the Pistons vibes are for the most part, but if you don't have him for a long-term plan, not that big a deal. Now, I kind of want them to trade for him. I think he would be very helpful. After watching like yesterday and just like the lack of ability for the Pistons to create looks without Cade on the floor, it seems like they need somebody else out there to make things happen. And if it helps the perimeter defense, then we don't have to worry as much about the rim protection because they got some rim protection. And if Jimmy has something to prove on top of it, him joining the Pistons and leading them into the playoffs or like helping them get through the playoffs is like him on the Timberwolves taking the third string squad and beating the shit out of the rest of the starters.
Definitely. Yeah. And I think the Jimmy you would get would have a huge chip on his shoulder following this Miami situation. I think there's even a world in which Pat Riley might see shipping him to Detroit as like a punishment, and I certainly wouldn't see it that way. Personally, I'm a little wary of the fact that you would probably have to, give him at least 2 years of a max to retain him. I don't want to just like acquire assets and stay the course. I think there's like more of a stopgap move to be made. I've kind of cooled on Vooch because of Durant's play. And just because as much as I want to see Cade with a stretch big, I think there's a chance that this year is an anomaly. And speaking of Bulls fans, they're pretty ready to get rid of him even in a career year. And so that's subjective and that's anecdotal. But I would be really interested in a backcourt partner who is steady and can shoot, someone like a CJ McCollum. His contract's not crazy. He's got a relationship with Trajan. And I think, unlike with Jimmy, if you were to pick up CJ, you would still have flexibility next season to go after like a Miles Turner or like another piece, and maybe have some more flexibility to potentially get like another big player, like a KD or someone like that. So I will say, like, CJ is a defensive liability, whereas Jimmy is not. They're both creators. They both can shoot. They would both take pressure off Cade. So, to me, it's just more of like money and flexibility.
I get that. I can see and on top I can see on top of just like him helping out scoring wise and playmaking wise on this team, how if you have him, because I think he's on the books next year for 20 plus as well, as far as the contract goes. Let me look that up real quick. But if you have him and you have Tobias, that's like 40 plus, 50 plus that you can use to trade for somebody else. And like when we look at the Phoenix situation, you really think that Beal's going to let himself get traded anywhere? That contract is rough. It's untradeable.
And the no trade clause.
And the no trade clause.
To your point.
So, like, not only will no team take him on, he won't leave because, like, it's not like he's going to go to another contender. His best chances with Phoenix. They have KD for next year, and then they have Booker on the books for many years. Somebody from that's probably going to be available. So, will that fit? Maybe that could be a good look. I'm wary of the defense and like the size, like kind of big time. So here's why I like the idea of Jimmy for 3 like this year and then 2 on top of it, as opposed to the idea of having CJ this year and then getting somebody for a longer run. Last year, the NBA darlings were the Indiana Pacers. They won the in-season cup. They were looking great. Like, fresh story. You have their point guard, their creator. He's doing his all-star celebration year. He's having a great time. In that period, they got some young guys who are showing up. They're excited. They're exciting team in the East, and they can make some noise. So they go out by the trade deadline and they get Pascal Siakam, kind of an older star, looking for a new team, and then they sign him to a 4-year max contract. They make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, which is great. It's so cool for them to have done that. I think at the beginning of the season, I even said I think they should be favorites to be like in there. I don't feel that way now, but they had the opportunity. What's the record now? Like 20 and 19 or something?
A game ahead of us?
A game ahead of us. Same record as us. And they're in the second apron. They're in a tough situation. They're losing Miles Turner at the end of this year because they can't afford to keep him. They're going to have a hard time signing Ben Mash to an extension, right? Like, yeah, for Miles, yeah, that's the thing. You could possibly get him in the offseason. I'm wary of signing a player, like a max player, to a long-term deal. And to me, if you get 2 years in like a team option at the end of it, but you're playing max, especially for Jimmy, who's 36. So if you give him a 2-year deal, he'll be 38 at the end of that. Like that's.
And he's 35 now, but yeah,
sure.
Same.
So he's
same
like
thing. That's up there.
It's up there in age. So there's no reason to sign him to a big one, and no one's gonna give him like a super long. I'd be shocked if someone gave him a 4-year deal. Like,
well, and availability for him in the regular season is a thing.
It's rough, and he has a history of attitude stuff. And if you look at the deal that he wants is something like the Paul George deal with Philadelphia 76ers. Paul George has ruined that deal for everybody in the future because it ain't going so great over in Philadelphia. So do I want a player like Booker to come over here for the long term and be like in a big max deal with Cade also in a big max deal? Maybe, because Booker's like a great player. I just would prefer a great player in a shorter term deal, even if it's at the max, starting right now, especially somebody who's a two-way player and who has like deep playoff history. So that's the big move I would like. What is the big move you're expecting, though, I guess?
I think it's going to be something more like the CJ thing, or something potentially with New Orleans, both because of flexibility and Trajan's history and his background there. I also think it would be interesting, if the Warriors got desperate to make a move for Jimmy and we were able to get like a Wiggins in a third team deal. I think that would be nice. Obviously, we talked about availability for him is a little bit of a question mark too, but I think he fits in very nicely.
I love Wiggs.
But Jimmy's way more of like a number 1, number 2 option that like would really take pressure off Cade. Yeah, I don't know. I like CJ's ability to play on and off ball. Again, he doesn't have the defense or the grit that Jimmy has, or that just like weird magic ability to drag a decent team to multiple finals. It's pretty incredible. I just I worry that age, availability. I'm not as worried about personality stuff. I like that he's a dog, and that to me is like a feature, not a bug. But no, I think it's going to be. I think it's probably going to be smaller. I would be surprised if he took a big swing like that. But I think the cool thing now is like I wouldn't be mad either way. Like I'm excited to watch. Like the Pistons aren't a great team right now, but they are a fun and competitive team, and that is so huge. I think there's still like you see their youth. You see the turnovers sometimes. You just see sloppiness and or just a lot of the guys haven't been there before, and a lot of the vets aren't great enough to just completely take over in every game. But they're so fun to watch, and they have such a culture to them now. And even talking about like Duran's improvements, I think JB deserves a ton of credit. He's talked about just how much he loves playing for him and what a great coach is. And I forget what podcast, probably multiple of them have talked about this, but Ivy was in the doghouse last year, like you said. So seeing him pop off this year is like, oh wow, it's such a stark difference from what he looked like last year just because of the circumstances. Duran just started every game as far as I can recall. But like you said, that's kind of detrimental in a different way, in that, does he think like it's all going well? Like this is just like I'm doing what I need to do. And now that we have other guys who need the ball and can shoot and can pass, he doesn't have as many looks. Like a lot of his opportunities just come straight from Cade, or he doesn't get them. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I just think it's so much fun to watch this team, and I feel like we could do nothing, and I would still be excited about our chances. Absolutely. Or we could take a really big swing, and I would be really interested to see how the team looks.
The only thing I'm going to sneeze here real quick. Let me mute. I'll mute it right now. I pulled it off. The only
thing
that I would be upset about is
Bless you.
Thank you. Bless Hooper. The only thing I would be upset about is if they made a move for a player like let's say Bradley Beal or something, and they've like mortgaged their future, and that player it didn't have like a clear cut way to work together in the system when Ivy comes back. That's the thing. Like I'm a little bit worried about is because Ivy's not here right now. We can't really see what the big move will be like once this team is in full. Because I feel like Ivy's done enough to earn an extension. Like, true, even if it's the Jalen Green contract, like that amount of money, I'm still kind of down. With
I agree.
It. He's playing really nice. When the Bradley Beal trade rumor came out, I was comparing their stats and I was like, there's no competition between these two. Like Beal's making 50 plus a year. They're shooting the same. They're making the same amount of points, shooting roughly the same from three. And this is like a career year for Beal in the 3-point land. In the 7 years previous, he was averaging like 35, 34 from 3-point. So like,
and how old is he?
32, I think.
Yeah,
Ashton the Trader, what up, Doe, dude? Let us go full throttle to you in the chat, man. Ashton, by the way, I still want to know that workout plan. I still want to be able to do the shot.
Yeah, we want the Cade workout. We think we can do it.
I'm positive I can pull it out. I was watching Hustle today, watching that montage of him training. I was like, bro, I got to find a hill. I can do this. I'm going to run up a hill all day, in the snow. It is snowing out here right now. But like, I love the way this team's playing together. Trajan from jump has pitched this concept of we all have to be on the same page. I want my coach on the same page as my players that are on the same page as me and like the ownership. All the moves have proved that so far. You can check out how the players are acting around one another. They love each other. They're goosing each other up. Watch Beasley's stream. You got to watch his stream. He's very fun.
Dubs in the chat.
Dubs in the chat, right? Like, I want them to find a player that fits in that. And I don't even want them to break up this team necessarily because they are playing so well together. This is fun basketball to watch. So I want to keep the good vibes going. That's pretty much all I care about. There was a report from Real GM on Twitter that the Pistons are considering a pivot away from renting out cap space at the deadline and might like make a move for somebody. That's cool. I just want them to make the right move. Like I really want it to be a fun one, an exciting one, a good one that I think will get this whole fan base like hyped up on as well. And I mean, the last thing to say about it is I think whoever comes here will be pleasantly surprised with how much they're embraced by the city and how much the city itself has to offer, because Detroit is in some kind of way right now, and the way is a good way.
The sports vibes in Detroit are incredible, and I just want to add too, like if we didn't make any moves, that would be fine. Like the team would still be fun and watchable,
Yes.
but I just think Cade is demanding like support. I think he's playing at such a level now that you don't want to see him like so taxed. Like I think you want to see someone who can take a little bit of that pressure off so that he can keep sustaining the level of play that he's doing, if not improve. It's warranted at this point.
Absolutely. And I want to say, like, the more we watch Cade, the more we can see what's in his bag. I want to get Poppy back on the show, Poppy Livingston, so she can design a bag, like Cade's bag,
Cade's bag.
Cade's designer
Yeah.
bag, right? You can put
Love
all your
that.
Detroit buffs in there.
It's deep.
It's
It's so deep.
it's so
So many
deep.
pockets.
Man, he's got such a deadly left hand. Like the left hand use is incredible, truly incredible. The ambidextrous ability that he's got. His post moves are sick. Also, shout out to Tobias in the post. I actually think Tobias in the post has been very effective as of late. Shout out to Tobias in general. Uncle T
The
looking
mid
good.
range is nice, yeah, no, he's been great. He's stepped up.
Really stepped. All these guys are stepping up. That's something that I love. Fontecchio's got his own celebration thing going on. He had 2 monster slams the other night. Marcus Splasher
So
was
good.
back 5 out of 7 from 3 against Brooklyn. Like this is an exciting team. There's a lot to talk about, and we played. We're going to transition to our next segment. We played a little game at the beginning of the season called. Who you talking about, Reddit? Who you talking about, Reddit? Where we debated which these Reddit posts were about. Was it about Alec Burks or about was it Malik Beasley? Was that the one?
Yeah, we were comparing the new pickups to the previous vets. So it was I believe it was Burks versus THJ, Tobias
That's right.
versus Bojan, and I think it might have been
It was Monty versus JP.
Yep.
Yeah, so
Yep.
we had those. Now we're in a different way. Now, when we play this game, we're just going to do it with Pistons that are all on the team. We're going to stick with our own boys in our very fun little segment. You could play along too. If you're in the chat, I want you to guess as well in our little segment of Who You Talking About,
Are you
Reddit?
talking about Reddit? And I just want to give a little preface. This should go without saying, but if you're not particularly familiar with Reddit, it can be a negative place. So these are not our views. We're obviously very high on the team, but people are fickle from game to game. You never know what people are going to say. All right, so this first round,
Before
we're
we get
gonna
into it, before you even read
sorry.
that out, I want to comment on that. Not only are they not our takes, if it's negative, they're the opposite of our takes. Even in our texting offline, like it's been very positive because these guys are all pros and they're all making us happy. They've played some of the most entertaining basketball I've seen in forever. It's been probably 20 years since it's been like this fun, this exciting, this sort of like hope going on. So that's really
Dude,
nice.
we're getting attention too. Like that Cade off the backboard dunk to Asar. Like I am just so high on Ron. I just love watching these guys play, and I love watching them.
Ron,
be in each other's corner.
what's happening now? The number for Ron is so appropriate. And by the way, I also wanted to point out that
Double O.
the name Bickerstaff is super appropriate because he was letting the refs have it. He was bickering with that staff all night long.
Doing a little more than bickering,
Yeah.
I would argue. But I love that though. I love a coach that goes to bat for his players. Like it's refreshing.
JB, he got my heart.
Truly. He's the man. All right. Ready to get into it?
Yeah. Who are the two players we are going to be comparing to start?
Let's start with Malik versus Ivy.
Okay.
All right.
Who are you talking about,
Here's
Reddit?
the first one. Blank, for being a great scorer, is actually kind of perfect for Cade because he doesn't demand the ball.
Okay. On a straight up open level, this could easily be either of these two. 100% could be either of these two dudes. Neither one like demands the ball. I'm gonna go because I think if this was about Ivy, I think it would have been like at the time he was drafted, and I don't know if that would have been the take at that point. I'm gonna go with this is about Malik Beasley.
It's about Ivy.
Oh my God. Okay.
But it speaks to Ivy's on and off ball ability.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he doesn't demand the ball. His shooting's been incredible this season.
41% from three, like 19 points a game, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. The kid's a stud and such a hard worker. Like, also, how many clutch buckets? Like, he's a clutch bucket getter, and I love seeing that out of him.
Like you said, we have Bradley Beal at home.
Right?
We don't need Bradley Beal. We've got Bradley Beal.
Our real hope as far as team building goes should be that the Pistons can build around Cade and Ivy the way that Boston has built around Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Or at least like just 2 homegrown talents coming through there. And whether it be Asar or Ron or Ivy, whoever, that should be a very important way to go because that's a great way to save money as far as like keeping your team together. And that's how Boston got to where they're at in the first place.
Yeah, and in what, like 40 games, 36 games, Ivy had 2 buzzer beater game winners. He's just got some magic to him, man.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He's such an incredible weapon, and he just continues to improve.
My guy's got the holy touch.
He really does. All right, you ready for the next round?
Okay.
For the next quote?
Sure.
Dude is having one hell of a year considering his usage.
I'm going to go with Beasley because it's off the bench. That's the sort of usage I'm thinking.
Yeah, and that's what makes this game so tricky because that's about Ivy.
Gosh, you've got to be kidding me.
I'm not trying to make it easy on you.
I was already celebrating. That's really about Ivy?
Yeah.
Someone on Reddit is complaining about his usage this year?
Well, I think they're just saying he's having a hell of like because he's I don't know. I don't know if that's a reference to him having more usage or less usage, but either way, it's complimentary.
Sure. I'll take it. Good for you, Ivy. Man, okay. 0 for 2.
Ready for the third Bees Ivy quote? Mm-hmm. If we don't give him a bag, I swear to God.
That's got to be Malik. There's no way because I think I'm the one who posted that.
Wow. It's you, baby. It's that's Malik. So you're 1 for 3.
I don't. Also, if somebody was that into Ivy that they wanted to give him the bag, I don't think they'd blaspheme on their post about it. I think they'd say, "I swear to gosh."
In fairness, it's STG.
Oh
so
my God.
Who's to say what that G would be?
If you had said STG, I would have guessed Ivy as opposed to Malik.
Well, I'm glad you were able to get that one.
I really want them to just dump money all over him. I want him to swim in it like Scrooge McDuck, for real. Just like drain
do the Malik Beasley wiggle,
shimmy it, draining bags of cash from 3. He's been so good, and I think this is the perfect fit for him. And I know he has family here. I love the sort of veteran leadership vibe he's got. I pointed this out in the article I wrote that we wrote, I should say, that we wrote together about Pistons veteran leadership. But when Cade was clapping it up for Stu and Stu was holding Jalen Suggs out in isolation, that clap thing, that's something that Beasley does all the time. That's where Cade picked it up from. W's in the chat. That's from Beasley. Put W's in the chat, $signs in his bank account. That's what I want for Beasley.
He deserves it. Pay the man. And I love the little ritual that he and Ron do where they cheers the ball.
Oh, yeah.
And then sink like simultaneous threes. It's so fun. I love the culture. I love the traditions. I love Dubs in the chat. I love the tech gesture. Like, you're really seeing them have fun, and man, do they deserve it. It's so warranted. All right, are you ready for the next round? I think you're going to do better in this next round.
All right, yeah. What is that, 1 for 2? I guess Beasley every time, and I betted 300.
All right, let's. So this next round is going to be, are we talking about Duran or Tobias?
Duran, Tobias. Oop, that was Tobias, and that's Duran, my bad. Did I give him the same one? Let me change this. Let me do
Tobias.
It. Boom.
Dubs in the chat, Corbin. All right, yeah, Duran and Tobias. All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
I've been super critical of blank on here, but I'm also very eager to give him his flowers when he plays well. I've loved his effort over the past few games, especially the Charlotte game.
Okay, this sucks. It's almost like you wrote these to be as ambiguous as possible. That's how crazy
No,
it
I'm a
is.
lurker.
Yeah.
I don't really post.
Mickey's in the shadows. Uh, just coosting around, figuring it out.
Yeah.
All right.
Just peeping.
I think, I'm not entirely positive. I think Tobias showed out more than Duran in that Charlotte game. So I'm going to go with Tobias.
It's JD, baby.
Oh, my Lord.
All right.
Good
We're
job,
gonna go
Duran.
a little negative.
Before we go to the negative one,
Sorry.
I want to give some flowers to Duran at this point. We already did a little bit earlier, but also when you're talking about some turnovers, but it's like it's not like the same amount in his direct handoffs, the DHO plays. He's added the bounce pass to that now, so it's not just like a handoff, and the turnovers there have dipped significantly. And I also think the criticism about him is like, if he's not getting involved in the offense, they don't give him a chance to get his offensive motor up, then he doesn't have the effort in there. I think that is not a Duran thing. I think that's literally every Piston. That's a Piston thing. They have this culture of players where everything they do gets them more hyped up, more gassed up. And if you get them more involved, then the energy and the intensity goes further. That's why they're so good at getting on the fast break, is because they're turning defense into offense, and that's just getting everybody hyped up. It's a hype train. To keep it on the Twitch track, they're a hype train team.
Yeah, and I feel like the offensive boards have been better lately, which have just given us so many more second chance opportunities that we desperately need. All right, ready for the next one?
I am.
Time to get this dude out of the starting lineups and see how he does coming off the bench. Again, not our view.
I'm gonna go with Jalen Duran because I don't know who they want to start over Tobias in the situation. I guess maybe Asar, but I'm gonna guess Jalen Duran.
Yeah, I don't know who they want to start over Tobias either, but they definitely want someone.
This is about Tobias?
Because that's a Tobias. That's a Tobias.
Oh my God.
Sorry, buddy. Oof. All right. Ready for the
How
third?
do you feel about the starting lineup right now? It's been kind of all over the place. Thank you.
I like Asar starting in place of Malik.
Yeah. I think I like that too, just because it gives them, like we said, the defensive intensity a little bit as far as that goes. And that
I feel like the spacing hasn't been bad with it.
No. And I also want to give Asar some opportunity to figure out where to be to make that spacing thing not a problem. YouTube user, thank you for talking about rewinding. You can also just participate in this game, man, if you want to be here, or a lady. I'm not sure which, but if you want to stick around in the live, participate, play the Who You Talkin Bout Reddit. We're all here for that as well.
Got more rounds, yeah.
We got, 4 more questions, I think? One more between these two.
Yes. Yep. All right. I do appreciate his rebounding.
How much time did you put in
anyone in the chat? Anyone know who Reddit's talking about here? Appreciation for rebounding.
I am going to guess Tobias Harris, because that sounds like they're surprised by it, and I think most people thought when Tobias came here he was just going to be a bucket getter. It didn't prevent for the sneeze. Sneezing, bless yous in the chat, bless hoops in the chat. I'm gonna go with Tobias.
Ding 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 ding. That's gonna be Tobias.
Got him.
All right, you're on the board. You got two.
I got 2.
You got 2.
2 out of 6.
All right. This is gonna be your round. I really feel this for you. All right. In this next round, is Reddit talking about Ron Holland or Asar Thompson? I hate to say it, but it almost feels like his shot and creation ability aren't good enough to ever be NBA level. Like the foundation isn't there. Again, not our views.
This is definitely a pre-draft view. It has to be. And if it's a post-draft view, frustrating because I think both these players have showcased at least flashes of being able to do that. Uh, I I kind of think Asar's ball handling and creation is real. Like he's had a couple moments this season. The crossover on against Denver where he slammed over the dude afterward was Peyton Watson. It was
Nasty.
nuts. And Ron, his finishing has been kind of crazy in transition. He's had a couple in the half court. He even had a nice one, a nice take in the half court last game. Although 3 out of 8 from three, he put up 8 threes out of his 9 shots. Wild stuff. But back to the point. Um, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Ron Holland.
And you're correct.
Yeah.
And I think you're actually doubly correct because I think that was a pre-draft take.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, is he proven that wrong. I love watching dude play, even if he has an inefficient night or he turns the ball over a couple times. As Draymond said in his post-game interview, he's not afraid of anything, and he does stuff you can't teach.
Yeah.
So good. And watching them, we've seen some minutes with them, Asar and Ron playing together, and it's not bad at all. They're both just demons.
When Tyler came on and he told us that their defensive rating was like in the 100th percentile when they're on the floor together, I was like, yes, sir. That's their first 2 years. That's only going to go up. And I do think the offense is going to go up for both these guys too. Like again, 3 out of 8 isn't bad from three. That's like a pretty decent stroke. And Ron's gotten hot some nights. So like, I think as the year goes on,
is that like 40? Is that 36 or 40%?
Yeah, I think it's like 37, somewhere in that range. Maybe it's 40. I don't fucking know. I was a math guy, but no longer. This ain't a stat show. This is a vibe show. We celebrate the vibes on this team. That's why we love Beasley, the 3 and V player. Threes and vibes.
3 and V, coined by Harry Morris.
Thank you.
Such a great term. 3 and V. He brings the vibes.
I'm putting it out there. Give the Malik Beasley 3 and V.
I want to see the whole team doing the wiggle. I want to see the whole. He's so funny. Dubs in the chat. All right. I think this is going to be your round, Harry.
I hope so. These are no lie. These are 2 of my favorite players on the team. Probably outside of Cade, my 2 favorite players on this team. And I love the whole squad, but I love watching these guys. I know Houston has their own terror twins with with Amen and Tari Eason, but like we got our own. We got to think of a nickname for this crew, for the 2009 crew.
Don't we play the Rockets in a few days?
We do. That's going to be a big game.
That is going to be so much fun.
After the segment, we'll talk about like their upcoming schedule, but they have some huge games coming up. So exciting stuff.
So cool. All right. Next post. I feel like he's really going to break out next year and be a huge part of this team.
I wish I knew when this was written. I got to give it to Ron. I think this is going to be a Ron Holland one because I think with Asar, if you saw him if this came out this year, it'd be about Ron. If it came out last year, obviously it'd be about Asar. But I think Asar's already on people's mind as we expect him to break out. So my guess is Ron Holland.
This one's tricky, and I don't remember when it was posted, but it is about Asar.
That's all right. I'm happy that they wrote it because I believe in it. I believe it very much for both these guys.
Totally. And I don't know if it was this year, maybe it was a reference to just him coming back from the blood clot thing. But either way, I agree with you. They're 2 of my favorite guys to watch. And I think, just seeing like Asar get his legs back underneath him.
And over the top of everybody else.
He really feels like he could be like a 20 and 10 guy at some point. Like and the stocks are out of control.
Oh yeah.
When he's got like 5.5, like in the first half, you're like
five dunks, 5 stocks. I think he had 5 rebounds in the first half of the game, just like 5 in the first half, and not even counting that the OBO under the basket alley-oop that was over the top of Rudy, which was incredible, just absolutely incredible. He was an absolute nightmare for Rudy all game, and I love that. I'm pretty positive he wasn't at full health yesterday. A lot of people online were like, "Why isn't Asar in the game?"
He
right
sat
now?
for most of the second half, right?
He was sick, dude. Like there's no way he was fully healthy.
Yeah, no, and I think they're both too going to get more respect from refs, just as defenders. Like Ron already makes such great plays, like not like forcing turnovers, and like the Duran block. He'll get stocks, but he'll also just make sure when it goes if it like goes out off a opponent, like it'll go out of bounds off them.
Right.
Like he's just really savvy like that.
If you're bringing the ball up half court and you're taking it up the sideline and you're by the half court by Ron, good luck. That's why he's, like I said, because it's out of bounds. He's gonna force that turnover.
I love that.
Mm-hmm. What's popping in now?
Here it comes.
I also love it because like the 0-0 kind of looks like the eyes emoji, which I feel every time I see Ron do something. Just right.
So good.
Good number choice, Ron Holland.
This one's really tricky. Are you ready for the last one?
I'm ready for the last one.
This one's kind of funny. Again, not a knock, not our views, whatever. Make your free throws, win the game.
All right. This is tough. Because if we're talking about like the season or like even the career as a whole, this should be about Asar because his free throws are not very good. And Ron Holland's free throw percentage, I think, is like 80 or 90 or something. It can't be 90, but it's got to be pretty high. But that game against the Bucks when he missed both and all they needed was one to win. I think it's got to be about that. I think that one moment is stuck in everyone's craw, and it shouldn't be because he's a great free throw shooter.
It was a rookie. It was in one of his first clutch situations, but that was actually in reference to Asar.
Oh my God.
In the Hornets game. Which, by the way, I feel like the whole team hasn't been shooting free throws great. Whether like even Beasley, considering he's a shooter.
Yeah.
I feel like Tim Hardaway is doinked some. Cade's percentage is down.
Cade was 5 of 8 last night from free throw. And one of them was an intentional miss, but two of them were not. And if he makes those two, we're in a different place. I mean, he's still shooting like pretty decently, but yeah, I think that's maybe that's the monkey's paw of the Fred Vinson hiring is like, oh, make everyone shoot better except from the free throw line. Yeah, like, but at what cost?
I'm hoping it's
we like to call that the devil's stripe.
You can't have it all. But anyway, that concludes the game. Super fun. Always interested to see what angry and/or enthused fans on Reddit are talking about.
Yeah,
bless them.
If you're playing at home, I would love to know. Let us know on Blue Sky because Twitter, but let us know on Blue Sky or Instagram how you did. Did you beat my 3 out of 9? Man, I have the same Who You Talking About Reddit percentage as Asar has from the free throw line. I think like it's pretty bad, dude.
Stop.
It's
33% from the line.
I think he's like 40 something at this point. Let me double check. But Asar Thompson stance. I don't know.
By the way, it's crazy that off the backboard oop didn't count as an assist.
Oh, it didn't?
Did you know that?
I did not know that.
No.
Why? Who makes those choices?
Which is crazy because I'm pretty sure I saw on Reddit, so this is where Reddit can be fun, is I think someone posted that the famous D-Wade to Bron off the backboard oop. Yeah. I think that did count as an assist.
Okay.
So
we gotta get John Stockton's assist counter over here to start counting assists for Kate, so we can sway it a little bit. But by the way, I started shooting 45.8 from the free throw line this year.
Oof,
that's really rough.
But wait, what's better? 45?
45. It's better which is better than his field goal. I mean, his field goal percentage is 51. His 3-point percentage is 26.3, which honestly is a step up. He hit another non-corner 3 yesterday when the Pistons couldn't hit a single shot, and then Asar steps up and hits a 3. I was like, okay, sure, why not? Yeah. I think Asar and Ron went 4 of 9 from 3 yesterday, which is hilarious.
Wild. Man, it's so good to see Cade just like being aggressive, and whenever guards go under a screen or something, making him pay, because he has just looked so good, man.
So smooth, like just incredible. Feeling the shot, feeling so confident. I think yesterday we were talking when the game was like out of hand. It was like 18 points. We're like, it's over unless Cade goes nuclear, and then he went freaking nuclear. It was awesome to see.
He's the guy.
He's the guy, the All NBA guy. So let's do a little looking forward as far as the schedule is concerned. We got one easy game left, easy, like however you want to call it, but a game they should win, and that's Toronto at home on Saturday. Tomorrow or today if you're listening on Saturday because you're too busy on a Friday, or just discovered the order on a Saturday.
Welcome to the fold.
Yeah. Also, yeah, we've had some good viewers today and some good people. Welcome to the
so
order.
Good to see Ashton, Corbin. Really, really great. Love the interaction. Please come back.
Like us, subscribe. Put
Ding
notifications
that bell,
on.
baby.
Follow us on Apple and Spotify. We should have said that at the beginning of the podcast, but
we're
whatever.
saying it now.
We're saying it now.
We're saying it now.
We're in here. So we have the game against Toronto, which should be a win. They're a better team than Toronto is. You really got to throw it down there. And Detroit's been such a great bounce back team. They've been able to like avoid losing multiple in a row since the first half of the season. So expect it. After that, it is a pretty tough go with things. And they have some very important games throughout the rest of January, including 2 against the Indiana Pacers and 1 against the Atlanta Atlanta Hawks. Sorry, different bird of prey.
That's gonna be a tough matchup.
It's well, I don't know. The Falcons are pretty bad, so they might be able to win that one. But
just a different game.
Those are 2 teams that Detroit is in direct competition with as far as getting that 6th seed in the Eastern Conference playoff race. And if you can win all 3, that matters a lot. And if you compete in all 3, then at least that we should be in that conversation.
Yeah. And it's, just to talk about like some of their wins from this 5-win streak, they haven't all been easy, and I think it's really cool to see their resilience, like they go down 10 or 15 or even 20. They're not hanging their heads and thinking, oh, it's over. This is just going to be another L. Like they really fight, and they always fought, but now they're fighting back with
the expectation that they will win the game. Like, again,
they know they can,
right?
Because they've done it.
Last night was 18 points with 5 minutes left. They can come back from anything. Don't make me tap the sign. The Simpsons meme. 20 points ain't shit in the NBA. It can go in a blink of an eye. This game, the basketball is a game of runs. It's the Hershey squirts. You can easily get over it. All you got to do is like really commit. Just really got to get hot. And Pistons have players that are capable of getting hot. They have several players who are capable of hitting several threes in a row. It's really nice, and they have guys who can get those turnovers, get those transition buckets. They're all set all around, and
they're really playing for each other. I also just want to say, look out for that Raptors game. I know it seems like one of the easier teams, but Scotty Barnes is healthy, RJ Barrett's healthy, Quickly's back, Pirtle. They're not scrubs
a lot. It's true.
I think they've had some injuries, and so I'm excited for that. And I think we can win, but I'm also excited for the Cade Scotty Montverde reunion matchup.
Montverde. I just thought Montverde was in Florida. I had no idea where it was, and now I'm happy to know. I got to say, Toronto has 1 win in their last, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 1 win in their last 16 games.
Wait, really?
Yeah. That's rough. That's tough going. Their 1 win was against the Brooklyn Nets, by the way. So they were close. They put a close game against Cleveland yesterday, which is crazy because Cleveland's the best team in basketball, like unmatched at this point. Last night it was 132 to 126. But outside of that, it's been pretty tough for them, including.
So you're saying the Raptors are practically extinct?
No, I don't want them to come back tomorrow and have like that old 90s movie "We're Back" poster, the old dinosaur thing. But I do like that call. That was pretty funny on your part, Mickey.
No, it wasn't. But thank you for saying that.
Well, I liked it, and I'm not even a dad, so
there you go. Me neither. What's my excuse? Just a hack, baby.
So let's look over. I wouldn't say hack. I'd say clone high writer. I'd say hilarious dude with great style.
Stop it.
I will not. I will
All
not.
right, keep going. Keep going.
Okay, I will stop
All right,
because I ran out of compliments. But
that's good.
so we have Toronto on Saturday, then New York Knicks at Madison Square Garden. Remember Cade there last time he played there? Ooh la la. Let's get a repeat performance. After that, Indiana Pacers at home. Phoenix, just an absolute mess. Suns right now. Although Bradley's playing pretty well off the bench. I think Jurkic is out of the rotation at this point, which is hilarious.
Is it Plumlee? Plum Dog?
Plum Dog, yep. He'll be in there.
Yeah.
Former Pistons legend, Mason Plumlee. Then they got quite the road trip at the Rockets, at the Hawks, at the Magic, at the Cavs, at the Pacers. That's a row of games. And then they close out January against, at home, the Dallas Mavericks, who I think will probably be without Luka in that game.
Kyrie's been out too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he'll be back, but yeah. Gotta say too, Grimes has been balling.
He's been playing really well. I had a feeling he would. Loved him on Detroit. Was a little upset they moved him, but you got THJ, who I like, in 3 picks. That ain't that bad. And if
I'm happy for him.
Happy for him. I'm happy he's grimy and gritty. Over that stretch, over the rest of January, the Pistons will be playing, as of now, only 2 teams with losing records. That being the aforementioned Toronto Raptors and the Phoenix Suns. Everybody else winning record or 500 at this point. So if the Pistons made a statement already, their statement is, hey, we're here, we're a good basketball team, we can string wins together, we compete in every game, you got to pay attention to us, and our boy Cade is an all-star, probably all-NBA. Their next statement over the rest of this month is, are we a problem? Are we somebody you have to watch out for? Can we make some noise in the playoffs? And as we talked about in our earlier segment, will Trajan do anything about it? Will this row of games show him anything that he has to do something about? Will it happen early enough where he's like, you know what, I'm going to make a move. Let's see how we do against these teams right here. I'm not so sure, but I got faith. I have faith that they'll. I'm going to say I think they'll go 500 for the rest of the month at least. What are you feeling about it?
I think so too, and I'm with Ashton. I hope a move is made to help us go full throttle. To quote LeBron, "Fuck those picks." I want to win. I want to honor Cade's season. I want to make a push and establish us as a team that's, like you said, going to be a problem for years to come. I don't think we're getting greedy. Like I think it's just the way things are now, and there's no going back.
Let's treat it like a 7-year-old with a boogery finger and flick those picks. Let's just get them out of here.
Flick them.
We
Pick
don't
them and
need
flick
them.
them.
We'll take the second round picks. We'll use the second round picks for that sort of noise and whatnot. Which, by the way, we have good second round picks for this year. We have Toronto's second round pick, so that's going to be high. That might as well be like a late first round draft pick at this point.
Yeah, Bobby checked in for the first time recently. Good to see him on the court.
Bobby Clint minutes.
Yeah, Clint Beastwood over here.
Clint Beastwood. That's what a nickname that is. Clint Beastwood, the Mickey Special, so lovely.
A little bit of a thinker, but it's. And then we got some two-way guys too, didn't we? We got Harper.
Yep, Ron Harper Jr., I believe, whose brother is like a coveted draft pick right now, and whose father
Dylan
is
Harper,
former NBA star. And then
interesting.
Tolu, who apparently was turning it up in the G League. I liked him in Summer League. I thought Tolu was really doing some stuff. So good for him.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. Lots to look forward to. I feel like we're capable of beating any team.
Yeah.
On any given night.
Yeah, me too. I'm going to be paying closest attention to those Pacers and Hawks game. I had to make sure I said the right word this time. Now it's like in my head about it. But those are the ones I want to see. By the way, for what it's worth, I'm going to that first Pacers one at home on Thursday next week. So if you're there, holla at your boy. Say, hey, Harry, what's going on? And I'll say, what's up? Let's go get an $8 hot dog or something from there.
Let's do it. Extend the 3 and the D to thee.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's spread the D. Let's spread the 3. Let's spread it all.
Let's
spread
all around.
Let's spread some saliva and close out the show the way we always do, the way a horse would say it, how you say OOBH. When it gets to the podcast part, I'm going to cut this whole thing out because I forgot to phase out. But let's do it one more time, Nick. You ready for it?
Let's do it one more time.
Let's do it one more time.